Picture this. It's a family gathering in 2024. Your uncle leans back, adjusts his gold chain, and declares with supreme confidence, "Beta, मैंने ये फ्लैट 2010 में 50 लाख में लिया था। आज 2 करोड़ का है। 4x हो गया। स्टॉक मार्केट में इतना मिलता." Everyone nods. Your parents give you that look. That, "See, we told you to buy property," look. And you sit there, wondering if your SIPs will ever match this legendary return. But here's what nobody at that gathering calculated. Nobody asked about the 7 lakh rupees in stamp duty and registration. Nobody mentioned the 15 lakhs spent on interiors and repairs over 14 years. Nobody talked about the 8 lakhs in maintenance charges, the 3 lakhs in property tax, the 2 years when the flat was vacant with zero rental income. And absolutely nobody mentioned that 30% of that purchase price was paid in cash, black money that will never show up in official returns. When you actually do the math, the real math, that glorious 4x return crumbles into something far less impressive. Today, we are going to dissect the biggest wealth myth in India: real estate. This video might make you uncomfortable. It might challenge everything your family believes. But if you're a millennial about to invest your hard-earned money, you deserve the truth. Not fairy tales. Let's start with something nobody shows you: the complete iceberg of real estate costs. When you see a property priced at 1 crore rupees, that's just the tip. Below the surface lies a monster. First, stamp duty. Depending on your state, you're paying 5 to 7% just to register the property. In Maharashtra, that's 6%. So your 1 crore flat actually costs you 1 crore 6 lakhs on day 1. Then comes registration charges, another 1%. Brokerage, typically 1 to 2%. GST on under construction properties, 5% with no input credit. Legal fees, documentation charges, society transfer fees. We are already at 1 crore 15 lakhs for a property worth 1 crore. But we are not done. Every month, you pay maintenance charges. In a decent society in Mumbai or Bangalore, that's 5 to 15,000 rupees monthly. Over 15 years? That's 9 to 27 lakhs, money that simply vanishes. Property tax increases every few years. Major repairs, waterproofing, plumbing, electrical, happen every 7 to 10 years. Repainting before you sell or rent. Lift replacement. Society legal battles. And here's the silent killer: opportunity cost. Every rupee stuck in that property could have been compounding elsewhere. When you buy real estate, you're not just spending money. You're locking away your financial flexibility for decades. These costs don't appear in your uncle's proud declaration at family gatherings. But they're absolutely real, and they're devastating your actual returns. Now let's address the elephant in the room. The open secret that everyone knows but nobody discusses in polite company. Black money in Indian real estate. Here's how it works. A property has a circle rate or guidance value set by the government. Let's say it's 80 lakhs. But the actual transaction happens at 1 crore 20 lakhs. The official paperwork shows 80 lakhs. You pay stamp duty on this amount. The remaining 40 lakhs? Cash. Black money. No trail. This practice has artificially inflated property prices across India for decades. A study by a leading property consultant estimated that black money comprises 20 to 30% of real estate transactions in major Indian cities. Some estimates go even higher. Now think about what this means for genuine returns. When you see property prices in any city, A significant portion of that appreciation is actually black money premium, not real economic value. It's essentially a corruption tax that every honest buyer pays. Post-demonetization and with RERA implementation, this has reduced somewhat. But the historical prices, the ones your uncle compares against, were heavily inflated by black money. The appreciation partially reflects India's slow shift toward white money transactions, not actual value creation. When cash transactions reduce, that artificial premium deflates. We saw this clearly in 2017 to 2018 when property prices in many cities actually fell or stagnated. The white money buyer is essentially paying a tax for someone else's black money from years ago. And this distortion makes calculating real returns nearly impossible using headline numbers. Enough theory. Let's do actual math with a realistic example. 2010, your family buys a flat in suburban Mumbai for 60 lakhs. Official transaction value, 45 lakhs. Cash component, 15 lakhs. By 2024, similar flats in that area are selling for 1 crore 50 lakhs. Looks like a 150% return, right? A 2.5x multiplication. Family WhatsApp group goes crazy. Now let's calculate honestly. Stamp duty and registration in 2010 approximately 3 lakhs. Brokerage 60,000. Interior work 6 lakhs. Total initial investment 69 lakhs 60,000. Ongoing costs over 14 years. Maintenance at average 6,000 monthly, 10 lakh 8,000. Property tax, approximately 1 lakh 40,000. One major repair cycle, 2 lakhs. Repainting twice, 80,000. Society legal fund, sinking fund, 50,000. Total ongoing costs, roughly 15 lakhs. Total investment, approximately 85 lakhs. When selling in 2024, you pay brokerage of 1.5 lakh, capital gains tax after indexation, let's assume 8 lakhs conservatively. Net realization, approximately 1 crore 40 lakhs. So you invested 85 lakhs total and got back 1 crore 40 lakhs after 14 years. That's a CAGR of approximately 3.6%. Not 10%. Not 8%. 3.6%. A simple PPF would have given you 7.5 to 8% guaranteed. Nifty 50 index fund delivered approximately 12% CAGR in the same period. Your best investment actually underperformed the government savings scheme. Let that sink in. But wait, property gives rental income, right? Passive income. This is where the Indian real estate story gets even more depressing. Rental yield is annual rent divided by property value, expressed as a percentage. Globally, healthy rental yields range from 4 to 8%. In parts of Europe and USA, you can find 6 to 10% yields. In India, brace yourself. In Mumbai, average rental yield is 2 to 2.5%. Delhi, around 2%. Bangalore, slightly better at 3 to 3.5%. Pune, Hyderabad, similar story. A 1 crore property in Mumbai might rent for 25,000 rupees monthly. That's 3 lakh annually. A 3% yield. But wait, this is gross yield. Subtract maintenance charges that you can't fully pass to tenants. Subtract property tax. Subtract months of vacancy between tenants, typically 1 to 2 months. Subtract broker fees for finding new tenants, 1 month's rent. Subtract repairs and wear and tear costs. Your net yield drops to 1.5 to 2%. A simple savings account gives you 3% with zero headache. Fixed deposits give 7%. Your passive income from rental property is actually negative when you account for your time, stress, and the opportunity cost of your capital. And here's the psychological trap. Because you don't see these costs together, rental income feels like free money. It's not. It's actually the most expensive way to generate passive income in India today. So, should you completely avoid real estate exposure in your portfolio? Not necessarily. Enter REITs, Real Estate Investment Trusts. India got its first REIT in 2019 Embassy Office Parks. Since then, Mindspace and Brookfield have also listed. These are professionally managed portfolios of commercial real estate, office buildings, tech parks, retail spaces that trade on the stock exchange like shares. Why are REITs a game changer? First, accessibility. You can invest with as little as 300 rupees. No need for crores to get real estate exposure. Second, liquidity. You can sell your REIT units any trading day. Try selling an apartment in 24 hours. Third, diversification. One REIT gives you exposure to dozens of properties across multiple cities. Your single flat is concentrated risk. Fourth, professional management. REITs are managed by experts who handle maintenance, tenants, legal issues, everything that gives individual landlords headaches. Fifth, transparency. REITs are SEBI regulated. Quarterly results, audited financials, mandatory dividend distributions. No black money, no hidden costs. And here's the kicker, dividend yields. Indian REITs currently offer 6 to 7% dividend yields. Compare this to your 2% rental yield on physical property. Plus potential capital appreciation. Over the last few years, Indian REITs have delivered total returns of 8 to 12% annually, with far lower risk and complete liquidity. The only catch? REITs don't satisfy the emotional need to own something physical. But if you're investing for wealth creation, not emotional satisfaction, REITs deserve serious consideration. So what should you actually do? Let me be clear. I'm not saying never buy property. Your primary residence, a home for your family, has emotional and practical value beyond financial returns. Stability, customization, forced savings discipline, inflation hedge on rent, these matter. But treating real estate as an investment that will create wealth? The numbers simply don't support this for most Indians. Here's your action plan. First, if you haven't bought property yet, don't rush due to family pressure or FOMO. Run the numbers honestly using the framework I shared today. Second, if you're considering real estate purely for investment, compare it fairly against alternatives. Include all costs. Use realistic rental yields. Account for liquidity premium. Third, consider REITs for real estate exposure in your portfolio. A 10 to 15% allocation can give you diversified, liquid, professionally managed real estate exposure. Fourth, if you already own property, don't panic sell. Just stop treating it as your primary wealth creation vehicle. Build a diversified portfolio alongside. Fifth, have honest conversations with family. Share this video if needed. Financial decisions shouldn't be based on myths, no matter how deeply held. The wealth your parents' generation built through real estate was partly genuine, lower prices, faster urbanization, significant black money component. Those conditions don't exist for your generation. Your path to wealth is different. Equity markets, systematic investing, index funds, entrepreneurship, these are your wealth creation vehicles. Real estate can be a home. but your portfolio needs a smarter foundation. Until next time, think rational, invest wisely. This is Mahayukti Finance, helping you build real wealth in the real world.